name is Soo Hyun Lee. I'm a visual artist based in London and I'm from South Korea. I live quite in many cities. When I was 2 years old, I moved to America, New Jersey, and stayed in South Korea, Seoul, for pretty much until I was 19, and then went to Amsterdam for a year, and now I'm living in London for 2 years. This kind of being everywhere in many cities was a quite privilege to experience many cultures as well, but it also gave me this sensuality of sensitivity of always being the outside person that might leave soon or not, and that made me naturally more focused on each society's social values and beliefs that are quite actually abstract and almost impossible to singularly define, but significantly affects everyone, such as eternity, hope, shame, love, care. So for example, my recent series, we're talking about care. It's talking about care could be a very self-destructive addiction, but also it could be a first step of understanding and forgiveness. And also, what is it as a woman to be indulged in the care? How could we use care as our subjective desired matter, not positioning us in a supportive role? So I'm quite interested in these kind of social values and interests. The cultural background of me, I quite moved a lot since I was young. I was born in South Korea, Seoul, but when I was barely speaking Korean, I moved to USA, New Jersey. I stayed there for 4.5 years, came back to Korea, and then lived in Amsterdam for 1 year, and then currently I'm living in London for 2 years. This kind of moving into different cities and very big cities were such a privilege to learn about lots of cultures as well, but also keep reminding me being a kind of outsider of the society. This sense of being the outsider or being a person that knows that I'm not gonna stay here forever or have some limitation of time made me be more aware about how small values or cultural values or beliefs in the society is very important to people. And also it was quite interesting to see how people differently create those beliefs or values or also relate to them. For example, like eternity, hope, responsibility, love, shame. These kind of concepts are very abstract, but every culture, it was quite interesting to see that it's so singularly defined and it has a very strong commitment in certain definitions of the values. So those kind of values are very important topic matters in my artist work. Recently I was talking about care in my recent series, and I'm focusing on diverse sensualities or diverse sensations we could feel from care. I want to talk care is not something like a soft, warm, jelly feeling. I want to talk about care. It could be a self-destructive addiction for people. Also, what is it as a female to do care in the society? Is it contributing more to the sexism or patriarchal system? Or how could we be a female that's like finding care as our subjective desire? Also, I'm talking about care. It could be intense, but it might be a first step of understanding and forgiveness. I am quite sensitive about many social incidents that happens, not only being triggered or concerned about what's going on, but also I'm very influenced how people decide to make a movement. For example, in my most recent work, I have seen this coming. I had a huge 975 kilogram pigment performance installation, and it was about the impossibility of setting an appropriate boundary to protect somebody and not limiting them. The performers followed 6 prompts. For example, one of the prompts was build a barrier but still make the river flow. Another barrier was pray for their past, bless for their future, and performers develop the characters. But I wanted to talk about the materiality of this performance. I made this handmade pigment that was a mix of several edible pigments, like flowers and stuff like that. But what I really liked about this material was It's a very fragile material, but if you put appropriate amount of pressure and appropriate weight of gesture, it could be very brick solid. I quite enjoy these kind of moments when a very fragile thing that looks impossible to be something solid statement becoming solid statement. I was influenced by many incidents in South Korea that kind of influenced me of choosing these subject matters. For example, in 2016, there was a murder incident that happened by a male. He killed a woman and said on the interview, "I was bothered by women because of her privilege and I wanted to kill her." So that kind of triggered also Korean women relating to the danger and also the upsetness of being a woman and being triggered in this normal just daily lives because she was murdered in a pub toilet. But what I was very motivated was they had a huge protest near to the station that happened, and it was a sticky note protest. So one person just suggested, "We're really angry, we should like show we're angry, let's bring sticky notes and put a note." So it was really colorful sticky notes, like purple, pink, and people put lots of messages. Sometimes it was like pretty looking letters, but what was in there was a very deep sadness and also a very strong statement. I really was influenced about this materialness, that something like a sticky note that could just get ripped up so easily, becoming a huge social movement and statement. So I'm quite interested in these transformities of what we are, but what we could be in the future, and just keep doing for it. I think the biggest challenge of being an artist is that this path could be very lonely and stressful sometimes. It's such a privilege, and I'm very happy and lucky that I could do art and I could speak with the visual language. However, it keeps, as an artist, you need to keep questioning yourself. I think having a privilege being an artist, the strongest language in art gives me so much power, but at the same time, I need to be very aware of what this power is and how my voice will be delivered. And to be responsible of my language, I need to keep questioning myself. Am I going to the right direction? How will this impact people? Or will this be a problematic way? Will this take away power for people who don't have power right now? So that could be the most challenging thing, but at the same time, I really enjoy these challenges as a person because this makes me grow and not make me just remain as the same place I was. And a message I want to say to my younger self is, even I said self-doubt is one of the biggest challenges as artists, I want to tell me that maybe you could be more confident sometimes. Don't be too anxious about some people defining your art, some people big in the industry saying something about your art. You could listen to it, but it doesn't have to be you follow them. Just follow your faith and maybe follow your good friend's advice that really knows you and loves you so much. So any unconventional techniques I tried, I think my recent painting series, there was many paintings that I did not cut the canvas or the paper roll to decide how further I will go in painting. So often my painting style was having a big roll of canvas and just keep expanding it during the painting process. But not only that, also my series, the huge pencil drawing installation I made in 2022 to 2023, holding on to the collapsing, that was a big paper roll. But even at the exhibition space, I kept the paper roll so I could expand it in every exhibitions. So there were some like progress, and also the audience could see this is not a totally finished piece, but showing this piece unfinished and showing the possibility is gonna keep expand is also my statement. Another thing that I did was when I was working on silk. In Korean traditional painting, there's this technique. We put rabbit glue on silk and then put Korean painting on it. But I just tried to use Western watercolor painting on that silk that I stretched in the traditional way, but it quite worked well for me, so I quite enjoy the process of it. I listen to music a lot when I'm making art. It really depends on what work I'm doing, like what kind of music I'm listening to as well. So for example, this is a bit funny story, but when I was making my video performance series, Why Are You Doing This to Yourself? That series was about my urge trying to understand others' words that were very vague, but was keep bugging me. It was a work about my obsession about trying to understand impossible situations that I could understand. So basically the format was I collected several dialogues I had in my life with actual people, and I was repeating the sentences again and again, and I was acting like them as well. And some characters, I tried to really indulge in their characters, so like I put like wax on my hair, I was like walking like them, acting like them as well. But to get in the character, I think for almost 1 month or 2 months, I was only listening to his favorite playlists, like Cassie and Joji, very sad boy songs again and again and again for 2 months. So that's one of my performance setup of music listening. When I'm painting, I quite enjoy listening to one song on repeat or one album on repeat. My go-to studio song is Silica Girls' album because they have a very synthesizer sound. It's a bit abstract, but also the lyrics are beautiful, and their lyrics are quite hopeful, but it's a hope coming from a person that was under the mud and trying to escape it, and I quite enjoy those sensations in the lyrics. One of the best reactions I have from an audience is, I think I have 2 answers for that. The first one is a simple one. I really enjoy when children's really enjoy my art. Like, I think that's one of the biggest responsibilities I have as an artist, how my art could smallly contribute to the next generation. And for me, just seeing children's enjoying it, even though they don't know what's happening in the art, that's a really big compliment moment for me. And the second thing that really makes me happy as an artist is I quite talk about lots of stories that are a bit embarrassing to talk out loud as well as a person. But when I become an the art making process itself gives me more courage to talk about it out loud. And I have a slight hope. I hope this could kind of encourage other people that are a bit shameless to talk about themselves as well, that are a bit shamed to talk about themselves. And yeah, there were some beautiful moments. Lots of people saying, I feel this situation, I know this situation, even though it's not sentences, even as an abstract painting, people are saying, I know how this feels like, and your work encouraged me to feel like I'm not wrong for feeling in that way, or I could maybe openly more speak about it. That's a very beautiful moment for me as an artist. My Instagram is at Today ISOOHYUN. So it's TODAYISOOHYUN. And my artist website is soohyunlee.art, SOOHYUNLEE.art.